my channel. So I hope everyone is doing alright. I'm doing part 3, I want to say, part 3 of this buddy colour page. Now it's a big buddy colour. It's going to be over on Instagram, so the hashtag is Colourmeturtlefree. I'll pop it on screen somewhere around here, but it is in Circle of Life colouring book. I have done the background in one video, and then the turtle in another. I did finish off this little portion here, but I love how he turned out. I think it's perfect. It's just what I wanted. But I'm going to use today, you're going to laugh, I've ended up buying the Brute Funa pencils. I've been seeing that everyone's hyping about these, mainly Cora, so I blame her. Come on camera, there we go. Yeah, so I blame her. I've got a couple of colours missing because I'm working on a tester page at the moment, but I wanted to do the sky and the sea. Now I even took my heat gun out because I was going to use watercolour, but I thought for getting in these little details in such a small area, I couldn't be bothered. And I've not used these on the channel yet. My only issue is because I've only sharpened a couple of them, and they sharpen beautifully, these pencils. If I just show you what it looks like, sharpen really nicely, but there's only a couple that are sharpened, and because they are square shaped, in my crank, what sharpener is it? It's a Helix one. It's really loud, so I'll choose my colours on the screen and then I will sharpen them off camera because it is super duper loud. I've got an electric sharpener that I'm umming and ahhing whether I should use with these or not, but I'm really pleased with this purchase. This was the 120 set and it was below £20, and I'm really pleased with them. And I was using last night Zest It to blend them out. I was just trying different things and seeing how I felt. So I will pick out the colours and get everything situated, and then I will be right back. Now I think I'm happy with them colour choices. Now in sharpening all of these pencils, this one did snap on me and it did get stuck in the Helix crank sharpener, just this one. But it's easy to, you just pull this part out and then take the bit that's stuck in. I've never had a problem with this, and I've had it for over 18 months, coming up to 2 years now. I love this sharpener. I always end up going back to it, trying different sharpeners, and always going back to that one. So the only way I'm going to be able to say what colours that I'm using is just telling you the numbers on the sides, because they're not named, or if they are named I can't read them. So the sky, I want to go for, I've picked out a peach colour, yellow and an orange. I might get a darker orange, possibly, I'm not sure yet, with a bit of pink splashed in there. And then this is all the colour that I want for the sea. So it will be very similar to the colour of the turtle itself. So that should be far enough in. Just move you over a bit. And I think we'll start on the sun, the top area. And these clouds I might even white out with a gel pen. Or that bleed proof one that I tested yesterday. I've not actually used that on a page yet, so maybe that would be a good idea. I've got a funny feeling as well, once I start blending out with the OMS, the Zest It, it is going to bleed through this paper. I've had nothing but issues with stuff bleeding through this paper. You wouldn't think it as well. It feels very similar to the Kirby books, and I don't ever have an issue with them books, so it must be different. So I'm not going crazy here, and I'll pull this colour out and then get lighter and then just put streaks of colour randomly in, I think. I'm not overly planning this out and explaining very well, am I? I'm just going for it. So yeah, I do want a darker orange. I will sharpen the one pencil on camera so you can see what I mean, but because of the shape of the pencil, it's just used to, what colour should we go for? That's more of a reddy orange, that might be alright though. I'll go for one lighter. Yeah, it's used and made for the circle pencils, so it's quite loud. But I think once you've sharpened it the once, you're not going to have an issue. It'll sharpen a lot easier. But I don't like the way that these are organised in here, so I need to find somebody's swatch chart who's organised it and put all them into a pencil case, because I can't cope with trays everywhere. It does my head in. So randomly placing these colours, and I'm going to do it in layers. So the first couple of layers are going to look ugly. You go through that ugly stage, especially when you're using OMS to blend out. I add a little bit of pink in there as well. I know it looks really scribbly at the moment, but it does blend out. And you have to make sure that you've got enough pigment down on the paper before you start blending out with the zesty, otherwise it just won't work. Then over with the yellow. And the way I did it last night, I worked in sections. So normally I would just dip my brush in, rinse off the side, and then dab it on a tea towel, but I learned yesterday that there wasn't enough of the zesty on the brush, so I'm not dabbing it off on any tissue or anything. I'm just popping it on the side of the bottle just to get rid of any excess. So there's not going to be loads and loads on there now, and I might even have to go back. And I've not got my little fan brush. I usually have that out all the time, so we'll get that out. Get rid of any of that excess and then start moving that pigment round. And I've noticed that this product works better with oil-based pencils, so these, your polychromos, they work really well. Prismacolors, not too much. I mean, they work, but it gives you more of a watercolour effect. So if that's what you're going for, then fine. I do pop the lid back on. I don't want to spill it, and I don't want the fumes in the room. So while that's drying, we'll work on the sky. So my lightest colour, again I want to do this splodgy because I don't want it to be perfect. I want some peaches in this sky and some pinks. So quite rough with this first layer. Yeah, so I'm very, very, very impressed with the pigmentation of these pencils for the price. Really impressed. So let's get that down, and then onto the peach. I hope that this isn't too light. No, it should be fine. It may sound like I'm really digging down on that paper, but I'm not. It's just medium pressure. This technique will work really well as well for a background. It'll just take you a little bit longer. And then my oranges. And then my darkest orange. Just randomly popping it down. And then where I put the peach, I'll put a little bit of pink over the top, just in certain areas. And then I will go over the whole thing with the peach colour again, just to make sure there's enough pigment down. I've really been enjoying using pencils this way and blending them out this way, especially if you've got sore wrists, or you've got an injury or anything like that. It saves you using a blender pencil or going in with layer and layer and layer to get that smooth look. So instead of using the tiny brush that I used for the sun, I'll switch to a slightly larger one. I believe that these are the Filbert brushes, that's not the brand. I'll link these down below, but I think the shape is actually a Filbert. And I've tried using more of a pointier paintbrush and I don't really like that. I do prefer these ones. So just going in, wetting the brush and wiping off that excess onto the side. You might see pink from last night. I was working on a pink and purple flower. So I definitely will have to pop back into the OMS with it being a larger area, but you see it just melts. It melts the pigment. I think it might be, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it getting rid of the binder in the pencil and then just leaving the pigment there? I think that's right. Circular motions. It doesn't take too long to dry this either. You could use a heat gun, but I would be very careful because it is flammable, this. So I'd be really careful. I've not used a heat gun yet, but I've heard people have used a heat gun, but it terrifies me. So I'll just stick to being a bit patient and letting it dry on its own. God, them birds outside sound like they're having an argument. I thought it was the horses then. So lid back on. Leave that to completely dry, and then once it's dry we'll do a couple of layers. Now I'm just checking how the paper's behaving. So far so good. So to see, I do want a little bit of yellow on here, so let's start from the bottom. I do get confused sometimes with these lines because can you see all this? I thought it stopped here, the C, and it doesn't. It does actually come down to all these little bits. That might be a little trickier with the zested. Let's see what we can do about that. So a thin layer all over of my lightest blue. This is definitely a burly there colour. There has been quite a few finished pages of this already and a few whips. So if you are interested in seeing them, they are over on Instagram, just under that hashtag. It's been really nice seeing everyone's. I'm just sat here thinking, you're beating me to it. I want to try and film most of it, so I can't get it all finished. So I'm not going to bother putting this lighter shade down here because I think we should go darker to lighter. I think that's the best idea. So we'll leave that bit for now because I could literally straight colour these with the darker blue. Like for instance this little bit here, just check that you can see, yep. this little bit here, literally just straight up colour it and not use the Zest It, because I'm a little bit concerned if I do, I'm going to pull that colour out too much. I'm not going to be able to control it as well. So if I do this, make my life a little bit easier. So hard pressure, I'm just waiting for this pencil to snap. Even Polychromos snap on me, and they are really strong pencils, but that's the sort of thing, and I'll pull it up to lighter shades, so I might need a couple, maybe one more blue, maybe one more, but let's stick to that darker one again. And similar thing to above, just random. Don't want it to be perfect. When you look at the sea, it's not one straight block of colour. You've got all sorts of different colours mixed in there. So let's move on to this green colour. Well, it's more of a turquoise, isn't it? Like a light turquoise colour. Turning my pencil as I'm going, just to try and keep that point as sharp as possible. Stop me from sharpening too much. And then the even deeper turquoise colour. I do really like the shape of these. I'm really impressed with them. I bought them off a whim after seeing everybody else, but I am really happy with them. I don't think I could cope with the, is it the 520 set? I think I'd be a little bit overwhelmed with the amount of colours that are on offer there. And there was no way that I would sit down. It took me over an hour actually to swatch all these out. I don't know how people do it. I really don't. Hats off for sitting there and swatching that amount of pencils out. Really. So my idea here is not to cover every single little bit, just make sure there's enough pigment there for me to start blending it out. And then a little bit of darker green just towards the bottom. And then to give it the illusion that there's a reflection on the tip of the C there words, let's go on to the yellow. And start adding some of them colours that are above to make a reflection. I'm just going down the list of pencils from light to dark. Whoops-a-daisy, I'm chucking them everywhere. I'm not going to use the peach, I think that'll be too light for this, but a little bit of pink. And then to blend out, I'm going to have to switch between both of the brushes, because I've got that larger area at the top and then more little details. But I am really not going to worry and fuss about this. I will just literally block colour in and then just add a few shadows here and there. This technique really reminds me of watercolour pencils. It really does. So pretend that this OMS is water, and basically you've got watercolour pencils. I'm not being too fussy around the edges. If it goes over little bits of fish, I'm not too worried. Just take off that excess. And you see the sort of effect that I've gone for there, so the sun is reflecting on the sea. And then we can brighten it up if we want to. You just add your layers and then blend out between. I think that'll look cracking. So lid back on. So I've just grabbed, I had a little drink break. I'm still on me 4 pints of cordial a day. I just grabbed a blackout, so this should be all dry now because it was about 5 minutes there. So I think I really am gonna have to block colour this, see this bit, and then just darken them up with the black. That's why I pulled the black out. That's what I think I'm going to do. Just hard pressure, but not enough that I don't want to snap the pencil. So I don't want to have to go over the top of this with the OMS. How can cardio make you burp so much? I know that's disgusting, but it's usually fizzy drinks that do that. So why is water doing that? Someone please answer. Why does water do that to you? And we've got a little bit. No, that's to that one. So we need to do this centerpiece. I went and got my nails done yesterday and I forgot what it was like to colour with long nails. Oh god, how do I do this? How do I do this? Fuddling everywhere. But I managed it. These bits as well. There's a couple of little bits at the bottom. How far do I want to pull this up? Not too much more, I don't think. So if I just do a light layer here and then start lightening it up. Just like that. Before I do that, get some of the black. That is really, really pigmented. I mean, like a polychromos pigmented. Just light layers here, just to deepen it up a little bit. But you can hear any noises as well, it's the usual, the dog snoring. That should be enough, I think, maybe a little bit more here. That's where my problem is, I fiddle too much, I think. And then we want to go to the green, so where I've already put that blue. Just like that. So this is where I find it so confusing, trying to find all the little bits and bobs that I need to fill in. I'm sure I'm not the only one that does this. I literally have to find a spot and sit here and point at it so I don't lose it again. So that's part of that plant. We've got a little bit here. I think that gap is to do with these, so we just want a light layer past about here. So we can blend the lighter blue. Or should we go with the turquoise? So we'll do the same on this side. I'm not really too worried about all these because I'm pretty sure that these are part of the plants. But I really do have to like practically got my head underneath the camera to really see what I'm doing. So I'll let me darker, just get it matching. That was darker, and then on the inner corner was darker, and then it got lighter just up here and a little bit here too. Right, so the lighter turquoise colour, and that 5-minute break that I just had as well. I needed this to nip out to the garage because that's where we keep our chest freezer. Like we eat the food in the main freezer in the house, and then I have to go out there to replenish it so I don't have to do shopping all the time. And I've just attempted to go out there to our garage, which is at the bottom of the garden, the back garden, and I've tried twice now, stood there with the keys, and I physically can't open the door because of the spider webs. And my son was in there last week and he came out and he said, "Mum, you would have been really upset because as I opened the door a spider fell down right in front of me. He's not scared of them." And I just kept thinking of that in my head. So yeah, I've gone out there twice to go and get food, and I needed my heated blanket and I can't go in. I physically can't go in. So for tea tonight everyone's going to be having whatever's already in because I'm not going out there. I should have remembered last night and asked my husband to go in, but no. It's this time of the year, the bugs are everywhere. So onto the lighter blue, but I hope that you can see there the nice gradient from the darkest going to the light. And then basically at this top part I'm going to put a decent layer of this blue and then go over the top with the different colours here. And then blend out again. Add pressure here. With it being a lighter pencil, that I want to be able to see the colour. I can definitely see myself using these though quite often actually, and for the price. My husband's definitely going to be happy if I'm spending £20 on pencils instead of however much luminance cost. So the darker blues, the darker greens, all random. Have fun with this part. It doesn't need to be too neat. I think that's the whole point of this. It's not meant to look neat. And then we'll go to the orange at the very, it's not a skyline, is it? Sea line. Anyway, where it just hits the top there. Then my yellow. Bit more of the orange, and then the pink. And then just this portion here I'll blend out with the zester. I'm not too worried about the bottom bit because I have block colour that and it looks alright that to me. Hello Alexa. That is actually a new little gooseneck, what's it called, tripod, because I am live streaming with Corey on Sunday, and I needed a new one because me moving everything around, it just doesn't work anymore, my old one. So yeah, 5 o'clock my time on Sunday. But we'll share all the details and whatnot on Instagram and on my community tab as well. So that's that portion done. I might go ahead and add another layer, but not blend it out with the zesty, just to brighten it up ever so slightly here. But the sky, same thing. Another layer with this. Yep, so I'm making sure I've got everything ready. We did a test stream last night. She was nice enough to test it with me because I was a bit nervous, making sure that everything was bob on and right, and it is. So we're ready to go. I'm really looking forward to it as well. The dark orange. Let's add some more to the sun while we're at it. I don't think the sun is one specific colour. If you look at the moon, all the different craters and stuff, and then when you zoom into the sun, I know I personally can't zoom in, but I've seen videos and stuff, and it looks like swirls that are moving. So it's not one block colour. Maybe a red would have been better than a pink, maybe. But I just like having a bit of pink. And then the peach. So I had pressure, a good layer of this. And let's get that blended out as well. So circular motions, just back and forth. As you can see, I only dipped it into the OMS once then for this whole area. So I will let that completely dry as well for 5 or 10 minutes. And then I'll come back and then do my final layer, which I don't think I'm going to need to use this knife. Yeah, I don't think I'll need to use it. And then I might possibly just do some shading on these, are they seaweed? These seaweeds. And then that can be that, and then we can do the fish maybe in the next bit. I don't know. Right, I'll leave it for 5 or 10 minutes and then I'll come back. So I'm happy that that's dry enough now. But with these colours, these two turquoise colours and possibly the black, let's not forget the eyes, because I didn't fill them in with Inktense because I wasn't sure at the time what I wanted to do. So just a basic blend here. I won't use the OMS. I nearly said then MSN. Do you remember that? Because I've just been checking my emails. I remember using that. I was getting home from school for talk to my friends. And you can change your status and stuff on. Gosh, that was a long time ago. Show me age now. And then a bit of the black just in these areas. So I've decided that I'll do some of the shading with the on the seaweed parts, and these pencils that I've already pulled out are going to be perfect for that anyway. But I will do a little bit of metallic and glitter watercolour, I think, on some of these fish, some of these ones. The only problem is if I do that, it will lose some of these details, but as long as you can see that it's still meant to be a fish, I think it'll look quite cool. So let's make sure that this is all filled in. Then move down to the seaweeds. That should be okay. Yeah, so the colours that I've already got shouldn't be too bad, because I've got the pinks, the oranges, yellows, blues, greens. They should do the job. But I might just shade on one side. I'll shade all on this side on these, and then on the opposite side for them ones. So what would that look like if I tried a little bit of orange in there as well? Quite nice. So having the base of that Karen marker just makes this so much easier. I did colour these on camera in part 1, I want to say. I really like the mixture of these two colours. I think they go together beautifully actually. Pleasantly surprised. Then back in with the orange. I think this is probably one of the longest whips that I knew that I was going to finish this month that I've ever had, because I knew that I wanted to film most of it. It's just been on my pile of let's get finished, taunting me every time I look at it. So for this side I'm sticking with the same colours, that's why I'm just looking. I'll go with the orange and then maybe the peach, or it might not show up the peach. I might have to go with the darker orange maybe. Actually, let's try the pink. Let's try a little bit of the pink, just to add a little bit of something to the very edges. That looks quite neat actually. I'm so impressed with these pencils. I think that'll be enough. And then onto the greens. Let's try this medium turquoise. And then switch to the darkest green that I've got. I'm really liking that. It's really pretty. So for this one, we'll stick with the darker green and then use a blue over the top. Just like that, and then the darkest blue. I've just realised I did it on the wrong plant, but I quite actually like the way that that looks. It's not going to show up as well on this, so we'll switch to the black. That was a happy mistake, wasn't it? So the same on this side, which was the dark green, and then the black. I must have put a lot more pigment down on this side because it's not showing up as well, or is it because it's a smaller area? I'm not sure. So onto the black. And then this very last one, which was the green, I believe. The green, the darker green, and the blue. Yeah. What watercolours shall I use? I think I'll just completely mix it up. I'll use one palette now, and then the next time I come back, I'll do another palette. So we've got the KG Designs by Karen. I've got Renaissance watercolours, GD watercolours, the Paul Rubens. We could even use gel pens. Coloro, is it Coloro? Got, I think, 2 of them palettes. I think it's 2. And the darker green. If you've got the Ocean set by KJ Designs by Karen, that would be perfect. I don't actually own that set. Somebody's noisy car going past. And then it was that dark blue that was a mistake, but I do quite like it, so let's add a little bit of that over the top. Right, so I'm happy with where we've got now. So I'll pick a palette out and get it activated, wait a couple of minutes, and then pick out some of these little fish. So I need a teeny tiny little paintbrush. So I made myself out to be a right plonker then, looking through all of my watercolours, and what did I find? The Ocean set. And the reason that I forgot I had this is because I wasn't too keen on them, but I'm determined to use them up. So they might work better on this paper. We'll see. We'll see. I love all of Karen's other ones, but just these ones not particularly very much. But like I said, let's give them another go. Let's make sure that you're definitely zoomed in and you can see what I'm seeing. You can probably see better than me because I'm sure that I need to go and get my eyes tested because it hurts to really focus in on these smaller ones. So these are the colours. I have activated them. You can see that I've used them. I've used them quite a bit actually. So we'll go into this one. Make sure we get plenty of that paint on there. You see? Why is my camera doing this lately? Anyway, these smaller ones. Actually, it might be better that you can still see the line out, so it might be good that these are like this actually. Going with this big one. If I'll turn the flash on my phone in a minute to show you the glitter and the sparkle. So, let's get my phone. Light. Yep. You see? You can see that one in the middle at the bottom there, moving round. And then on the page, there you go, you can see there. They do look really nice under light, but I think I just need to use them more. So a little bit more water and going with this darker colour, just this one. Just pick some random fish out. We'll go with this big one. Oh, this one's more pigmented, so I've lost lines. Never mind, you can still make out that it's a fish. I'm using an aqua brush as well. Well, I suppose if I thin it out, but now that I've got it thick, I want the whole lot to be thick. So let's just add a little bit more. And then do one of the smaller ones, just this one here. Yeah. I'm going to end up getting carried away and doing all these in paints. I can see it coming. Let's do this one at the top. Let's change colour. What about this green one? There. Let's do this one. I'm trying to be super careful, don't want to go out the lines. So some more green, I'll do it on this little guy. And change colour to, I'm thinking the top right. And we'll go for this big one as well here. Just move you over, just this one. That was it. I bought this one instead of the planets one that I was gonna get. That's why I got confused. I like that one. That's more subtle, that one. Do this little guy here. Then we'll do some either side just to make it even. And I do really want to do the rest in pencil. So I might end up doing that off camera. Just pencil work, I think. So let's try this colour. Oh, a lot of water, a lot of water. Let's put it on a different one. Wipe off my brush. There was a lot of water on that then, that was my fault. See if I can soak some of that up. There we go. Yeah, I went a bit over the top there, didn't I? With them two. Whoops. So I can see the name of this one actually. This one's called Foam. You just about see the name. It's like a silvery blue almost. And then back in with that very top left one. I think actually that's my favourite one. That's really pretty, that one actually. And then we'll scoot all the way to the bottom and put it on this little guy. A little bit more. And I do apologise if I keep moving you around, but I want you to see absolutely everything. So we'll stick with that same blue and we'll do this one. Oops. I think if you're quick enough with these paints, you just dab it off with your finger, you'll get away with it if you go out the lines. Just got to be a bit quick. So we'll add just a few dark ones. I will bring you right now, so I'm not moving it around constantly. Just a couple of dark ones of these ones, and then I'll call it a day, I think. I think some nice Arteza or the Pentel Hybrid Dual metallic gel pens will look really nice, the blue ones, so I can always dot them round as well. And this little fishy done. And that's it. So that's it for that palette anyway. I might end up going back and using a different watercolour palette as well, just to change things up. But I'll put my light on again. It is so difficult to show watercolour, like metallic and glittery watercolour on camera. Right, we've got that one at the bottom as well. Got all these ones are really shiny, the top left ones. See? So I'll let that completely dry. I will do it a little bit off camera because, like I said, I don't particularly like, well, I don't want my videos to be really long in so many parts. So I will do it a little bit off camera, but you'll see most of it mostly finished in the next one, I'm hoping. So if you did like the video, please do give me a thumbs up. It helps out my channel so much. And subscribe if you're new. And then I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.